Hi again. Welcome to Middle East Unfiltered. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Sam, last time we spoke about the importance of the two operations, the Israeli Operation Roaring Lion and the American Operation Epic Fury. We discussed and we said that those two operations were very essential, not just for Israel, but also for the world.
Yes, we discussed all about it. Yes, we did.
Mhm. Now, I want to take it a little bit further. Um, because you need to look at the bigger picture. And I remember that we ended the previous podcast saying that the problem was Islam. So all those asylum seekers, right, or refugees, so-called refugees, coming to the West, they're not really refugees. We know that, Sam, right? They're basically they come to conquer. They come to
Yes.
conquer. That's their goal.
Yes, they do.
So
They do not assimilate to the mainstream society. They like to carry their own system and beliefs with them. Yes, you are right.
mhm. So if they want to establish Islam in those Western countries, they have to have a financial resource. And this
Ye-
comes in the shape of halal, right? Halal economy.
yes, they do. Yes.
Can you
Not.
explain to
I
listeners?
would further it. Not only
Mhm.
the Western countries, actually everywhere where Islam tries to dominate or goes to the different level, they rely on this halal economy. Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. So can you tell us what halal economy is?
Okay, let us then delve a little bit on how Islam works. So in Islam, there are three stages of takeover. One is Darul Islam, second is Darul Sulah, and the third is Darul Harab. Okay, HARAB. So in order of occurrence, first is Darul Sulah, then Darul Harab, and then Darul Islam. So Darul Sulah is where Islam arrives. Okay, in small numbers, then they are in a peaceful coexistence with the other communities. They will abide by the rules. Actually, they are playing al-taqiyya, which is allowed, a deceit. And then subsequently, when their numbers reach a certain percentage, then they go to dar al-harab, which is getting into conflict. Okay, where there is where they start demanding their own wudu stations. They'll start demanding their own preferences, halal food and extra. And then there is Darul Islam, where there is a complete takeover and Sharia law is established. And this occurs in every stage, whether it is a community where 150 people are living and five people arrive, whether it is a block where 10,000 people are living and 300 arrive, or whether it is a city, or whether it is a state, or whether migration is taking place in a country. This is how the takeover takes place. And to support this, because most of the countries, they are religiously freedom, they provide religious freedom, they provide respect to the religions, and they allow uh, and in their constitution as well, the right to choose your religion and the respect for it. They allow Islam to come, and this Islam, the first stage is, they'll say halal food is allowed for us, and this thing starts. Okay, so this halal economy is based on meats, is based on dairy, it's based on candies, it's based on all sort of things, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and everything. Basically, everything that you consume, who are not Islamic, okay, by the way, is haram or illegal or irregulated, and whatever they consume according to their own system is halal, or according to the book, and which is legal and regulated for them. So they'll say, we have to go by these things, and this type of chanting of hymns before the slaughter of an animal. So person is required to chant this. Imam is required to chant it. The butcher is required to chant it. The butcher has to be the Muslim. The packager has to be Muslim. The person who transport has to be the Muslim. The container that takes, has to be Sharia compliant. So this is how the thing starts. This is how the supply chain works. Okay, and this is how the halal economy operates.
Mhm. I think, I was watching a video on YouTube the other day. It goes around. I mean, it's very difficult to find it, but once you do, you see it. How the Muslims they slaughter the sheep. It's very painful to see. If somebody is for the animals, that video shows how they were pushed, shoved, how they slaughter them. The slaughter in Islam is not very quick. It's the opposite. On the contrary, they actually let the animal bleed to death, and it's very, very cruel. So I think I'm going to attach that video to the description of this video.
Yes, it is very brutal to the animal, and there is a different system that works the other way. When the animal is not subjected to such pain, it is jhatka system in India. When the animal is cut in one go and it does not feel anything, the brain doesn't feel anything. But the halal system, they cut the jugular and the animal basically bleeds to death. There is blood all over, and it is very sickening. And the first part is, the halal economy requires actually the there is a zakat element to it, which is the donation. Okay, a part of the proceeds or the turnover goes into funding of the ummah or the community. Okay, which is 2.5% basically demanded, but it can go up.
Yes. And you know what's worse about the zakat? That money goes to terrorism. That money comes back to us, okay, in a form of ballistic
Yes,
missiles.
in the form of drones, in the form of ballistic missiles, in the form of propaganda, in the form of funding of the terrorist element in Bondi Beach, in the form of funding of terrorist elements during the October 7th, 2023 massacre. These people had funding to buy the guns to get parachuted into this place, and horribly 1,200 people were killed, babies were killed, women were raped and tortured like anything, hostages were taken, they were subjected to horrible torture. This is all backed up by this halal economy money. They say it's 2.5%. The zakat is mandatory. 2.5% of the proceeds goes to the funding of the ummah, but it is not 2.5% because none of the websites that regulate this halal economy through Sharia compliance, they publish a book of accounts. Okay, this is very big. There are $5 trillion worldwide, and it is undocumented. This $5 trillion is also an estimate. It could be $6 trillion or it could be $7 trillion as well. So basically, 5% of that goes every year goes into the funding of the ummah, the building of the mosque, buying of the drones that fly towards Israel, buying of the missiles that flies towards Israel, buying of the guns that killed Jews in Bondi Beach, that killed Jews in October 2023, that kills Hindus in Bangladesh, and also the money goes to fund lawyers that defend Ilhan Umar, lawyers that defend Sharjil Imam, and lawyers that defend Umar Khalid in India. Yes.
So basically, Islam is a business. It's business.
Yes.
So what is your suggestion? How do you suggest we tackle halal economy?
Okay. So the people who are buying the products on the stores, on the Costco stores, on the local groceries, and their meat and their dairy products, you need to look at the package content, need to look at the fine print, need to see whether the product is halal certified or not. If the product is halal certified, you look for alternate. You ask the shopkeeper, the manager there, or the person in charge there, you ask for alternative, please. I don't want halal products. I want to go for non-halal. That's it. You just ask politely. You don't get angry. You don't get frustrated. You just ask whether you have a non-halal product, non-halal alternative. And if the person is not able to supply to you, you move towards a place or move towards a store or you move towards a product which is alternate. Okay. So this is how you stop the funding, the indirect funding. Because as of now, there are only the halal economy is only $5 trillion, but it is subjected to grow because people love to consume food. People love their consumption of dairy products. They have to consume, and when the majority of the population starts participating in this halal economy, it will grow exponentially, and thus the threat of the takeover of Islam in the Western countries, as well as the threat to Israel, and as well as the threat to Japan, as well as the threat to India, will grow because this money flows overnight through cryptocurrency. The money gets transferred easily through PayPal.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
money gets transferred easily through Swift. Yes,
Yeah, I agree. Evil never sleeps. So you were talking about people who go to a regular store. I would actually be, harsher and say to people, do not go to Middle Eastern stores. No to Middle Eastern
yes,
shops. Nothing to do
yes,
with Middle East stores because obviously everything there is halal. So you don't want to fund terrorism. Trust me, you don't because it'll
yes,
backfire on you. Yeah.
yes, it will. It
Mm-hmm.
will. Because however hard you try to, give a suggestion that Islam is peaceful, it is not. If they were peaceful, they would have given back the rightful land that belongs to Israel. They would have not expanded, in places where they should not. They would want to coexist peacefully in India. They would want to coexist peacefully with the Hindus in Bangladesh, but they don't. Wherever they reach a certain number, and which is there is a financial requirement for it. This halal economy is a self-feeding mechanism.
Yeah. Sam, I want to thank you once again. Um, Next time we're gonna talk about a different aspect of Islam. I would think maybe Islam and women.
Yes, we will do
Mm,
that.
we will do that. Okay, thank you so much and have a great night.
You too. Thank you.